Hello and welcome to the Carbitrage Podcast, episode 207. I'm Eric Berger, joined as always by my co-host Ryan Zinitzky. Hello, sir.
Hi.
I had to
Listener.
burp that entire time. Can't believe I
And
got
viewer.
through that. To viewer. Hello,
Hello.
listener.
Hello.
Genericized listener and or viewer.
Well, as I've always said, people listen to this with headphones or in their car or in their individual workplace, and it's usually one person at a time.
Well, they enjoy our smarmy voice.
So thank you.
The microphone.
Anyway,
I am still on the same tall boy of Northeast.
I liked my pepperoni that I had last episode. I got another one.
Gorlami.
Actually, this is like a surprisingly really good beer.
We've had kegs of that in the past, and it's been universally very liked.
I usually write off Italian beer because it's Italian. It's not a wine or a Ferrari, so it cannot be good. And no, it's actually great.
The shelf life on an Italian beer doesn't matter as much as the shelf life on an Italian car. So
That's very true.
anyway, before we start in on topics, I want to briefly scrub onto our Patreon page, patreon.com/carbitrage. On our semi-custom page, you will find 2 open-ended levels of support for content consumers like you to support content producers like us. They're nice and cheap. If you want to buy us a beer, we would greatly appreciate it.
I found where my link went.
Oh,
put
did you?
your Kona thing in between my link and my...
No, you dumped your link probably before I put my link in, though.
Whatever, it's there.
This topic was here. It doesn't
Anyway.
matter.
So, I want to talk about...
I'll open both of them.
It is still Black History Month when we are recording. So I would like to talk about the last person I want to highlight for this month.
Your first link was better. I'll go with that.
Yeah, well, the second link was me for having notes. And I want to talk about C R Patterson and Sons Company. And you're probably wondering, what is this generic company? Who is this?
Patterson?
Yeah. It was founded by Frederick Patterson, who was a freed slave in 1915 as a carriage company. Well, it was before that. It was Patterson J.P. Lowe or something. But they originally were a carriage company and actually were very successful. It was a rare black business success of the 19th century.
Okay.
Eventually, Frederick Patterson retired, left the business to his son Charles, who went on and continued its success and then made it into a car company as cars became popularized in 1915.
Okay.
And they made a car that's actually equivalent to a Model T, or its simplicity and its price. I think it says its price down here. If you scroll down a smidge, it's $815, and a Model T was like $700. So
Okay.
it was a little bit more expensive than a Model T. Better quality overall.
I was going to say, it looks like it has a bigger engine, but maybe
Yeah,
not.
it's got 6-cylinder, so it runs a
Okay.
little bit smoother. It's
Sure.
roughly the same displacement and performance as a Model T. But they eventually they couldn't get their production to get as high as a Model T because they didn't have the.
Probably the capital. Just
They made like 150 cars in
Okay.
total.
Well,
from like
still-
19
For the period, that's damn
from
good.
1915 to like 1920, making that many cars, that's really solid because you're making all this by hand.
Yeah.
But they eventually decided, well, cars, we have to make way more to be profitable. However, what we can do is make school buses. And they ended up making, like, all of the school buses in Ohio at one point in time, like, were pretty much from the Greenfield Bus Company, which is what C R Patterson became. So he actually ended up having one of the first successful internal combustion engine school buses ever made. Because before that, they're using horses and carriage school buses. Like, literally up until, like, 1923.
I feel like I need to do this once more.
Yeah, this whole thing is like that. But, yeah, so I think that this is something that we should really talk about because nobody knows who Charles Patterson is. And the dude was born in
He
April.
escaped from slavery,
Yeah,
too.
sorry,
like,
he escaped from slavery in 1833 and started up a carriage company.
That's awesome.
then
10
his-
years later.
And,
Like, that's
and
amazing.
then his son, like, they were like 30 years later or whatever, took over the company and by 1915 created the first black-owned and I think actually only an African-American-owned automobile company ever. It's a very, very, very cool company. Unfortunately, after Charles passed away in
1939, it looks
well,
like. Or that's the
he
company.
passed away a little bit earlier. I think it's like 38 or something when he passed away. The company was left to people outside the family, and it eventually went
32.
defunct. Yeah, he passed away in 1932, but it went defunct in 1939. Not because of them, it was because of the Depression, and
Sure.
You can't. Like, there's no way that you're going to live through that. Unless you were Ford, Chevy, like Pupmobile or something. Like
Mercer.
Yeah, well, Mercer went under.
Yes.
Like, unless you were one of the major like car manufacturers.
But
then
they had
there's
the
no
race
way.
about.
Yeah, I know, right?
God damn it.
But very, very cool that they were able to do this. I'm really like, it's one of those stories where I feel more people should talk about this. I'm just surprised that there's not like a biopic about this guy.
Our history is so selective, and a lot of that's just like there's too much of it to really tell you everything.
Yeah, and it's
But
what you also like.
This is the era of greenlighting my 600-pound life. Like,
Yeah.
why isn't there like, why don't you learn about people that actually did something good?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I would much rather see a biopic about an escaped slave that started a carriage company
Yeah.
over a biopic about like random celebrity.
This is like
Well,
what I
there was,
watched voluntarily on History Channel in 1996.
A few years ago, there was a runner, like an Olympic runner, where he had 2 biopics that came out back to back because one studio stole the other studio's script.
Oh my god.
And then this guy had 2 different biopics that came out within a month of each other. It's just some random white dude that I can't remember the name of. And it's just like, I feel like people like C R Patterson, like...
or
they-
the modern equivalent,
Yeah.
Chad Johnson.
Yeah, I feel like people like Frederick Patterson, like, they should really have biopics. And like his son CR even, like people like that. Like, this is such a cool story and nobody talks about that. So, yeah, what the hell, Hollywood?
Pretty much.
So that's my hot take for the end of Black History Month.
We don't need any more documentaries about Ted Bundy.
I don't care about Ted Bundy. I don't care about any serial. That's like every time I see a serial killer documentary, like, I don't give a shit.
I like them.
I don't
but
care because like
they
I
tend
would,
to keep talking about the same white guys, and I'm like,
There's that, but like, why do you constantly fixate on researching bad things?
yeah, like no, tell me like yeah, that's the thing. Is, like, I don't give a shit about that. Like
I
it
don't
literally
either.
bores me. Like
But,
when
like,
I have to watch a
people are-
crime documentary, like fuck.
People are into that. People just love their murder porn, which is what I call
mean,
it.
I like true crime.
And
but
no, it's the
that's
the
because I
worst
studied
genre of anything.
forensics.
Yeah, I
just
mean,
find it
the
interesting.
methods behind how they catch people is awesome, but like, I don't want to hear the story about like how somebody got tortured and they found their mutilated body somewhere. Like, just tell me the cool tech behind why things are
Even
getting
then,
better.
I don't give a shit
That's
about
true.
that. Tell me about the cool guy that made something. 'Cause
Tell
you
me
know
about
what?
how many small boxes Maru has fit into in the last 365 days.
Yes, and, like there's no way that like the finding this killer is ever going to affect my life
No.
positively. But hearing a story about how some dude escaped slavery and started his own company,
Yes.
that's something that can affect my life. Because you know what, I would like to be an entrepreneur maybe. Like
And-
that's something I could actually hear about.
It's not going to make you paranoid.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's
And,
an
like-
uplifting story.
Like we watched the Netflix documentaries about the Romanovs and the
Another family was like
Italian Roman family.
yeah,
But like
the Medicis.
the
Ah,
Medicis,
Medici.
and like
What a
those
great
are
name.
really good. But I want to learn more about people of color because I'm sick and tired of hearing about white people from history. I want documentaries about the Maya, not in Spanish, so
Yeah.
I can understand.
That's
them
why I
while
was
I'm
watching a
going to bed.
documentary on the Japanese Civil War.
Yeah, I wanna know about.
Becoming cultured. It's
Sa-
weird.
Samurais.
Ah,
Yeah, it's very
very,
I want
very
to
good.
know more about slaves that escaped slavery other than Harriet Tubman.
Yeah, there's more than
because-
one. And it's like nobody talks about Frederick Douglass.
No.
Well, actually,
Some people do,
Yeah.
but he's fallen out of fashion.
because he kind of got some
heaven
backward.
forbid you're not in vogue.
But I mean, like that's the thing is like they just don't talk about anybody. It's like really cool, and it's like everything like Black History Month is like you're also giving like one of the most oppressed people in America, objectively the shittiest and shortest month to celebrate their history.
Everyone's outside. Nobody's going to watch this.
Like no, it's like it's 28 days. Cool. Like I know why it's February, but I feel like there should be more. Like that. This is why we need Juneteenth to actually be a holiday, so we can talk about things like this. Anyway, so that's our thing. Black History Month. Learn about your cool black people in the history of automobiles. It's pretty rad. The history.
There's a lot of-
2022 we'll have more, I'm sure.
Very cool, Jadas.
Yes.
Yes.
Anyway, so let's move on to your first topic.
So this episode maybe was going to be the start of the Nero Saga Part 2, but due to potentially conflicting legal reasons, that's not going to happen just yet.
The best of reasons.
But I get to talk about something that is public, which is the Nero's sister car, the Kona, which was high on the list but didn't offer a standard heat pump with the cold weather pack in this country. All of them are
Yes.
being recalled to have the main battery pack replaced now, just
Oh.
like the Bolt.
Oh.
Yeah, so $900 million recall is happening right now. I'm sure while the companies are selling tons of vehicles and rolling in the dough from all these sales happening in the very normal world we live in.
Yes. Actually,
Um,
car sales have been through the roof. But yeah.
Well, that's true. But I really like to, grayify it and turn it into a, what do you call it, an infomercial. So I'm kind of curious to see if this will kind of pave the way for people to look into not just the Kona for other issues, because this has the same motor in it that the Nero has, which is potentially, I've heard from multiple sources online, not Scott, that the 710, 711, and potentially 712 motor assemblies also have main bearing failure fairly often. So I'm curious to see
How
if
did like one moving part and manage to fuck it up like that?
anytime a company has a first-gen EV, there are problems.
Guaranteed.
They just need to accept that that is the thing and fix it. Because Tesla dealt with this on all the first-gen performance drivelines and the first generation of the front motor assemblies in the S, too. They all had bearing failure. Same thing. Weird. Just can be fixed by running a much larger bearing. But yeah, I mean, that is $900 million. And I don't know what they're going to do with all the old packs. I know they're switching to a new cell chemistry company in the process of this recall. It's like the LS Chemical or whatever.
LG.
LG
LG
Chem
Chem.
was the original. They're switching to something else.
Not LG.
They're switching to non-LG batteries.
Yes.
My car has Panasonics. They've been great. Charge a little slow, but they've been fine. But I'm curious to follow Kia EV recalls. I think this will be the first in potentially several,
Yeah.
and possibly class action lawsuit stuff
Oh,
following
oh.
the EVs. So stay tuned.
Depends on how they take care of it, because
Yeah, depends also a lot on potentially action with the Nero and its potential issues that are being investigated.
well, this is the thing with like Hyundai is like historically they've been very good about their recalls. I think just this one is like it's so widespread that they're like, all right, now we got to pull forward here.
Oh, like, oh, it's not an issue.
Yeah.
Like,
Whereas like,
well,
because like historically they've like this is the same company that once recalled every single 2013 Hyundai Sonata and 2014 Hyundai Sonata because the little chrome trim piece around the shifter handle would fray and it might prick you in the finger.
oh, wouldn't want blood on your car.
Yeah, it wouldn't even break the skin really, just it'd be uncomfortable. But they recalled all of them because of that.
Okay, I'm not sure if that was worth a recall, but I'm glad.
But I
they
mean,
did
like
it.
that's the thing. Is, like, This is a company historically. That's how they've recalled things because they want people to be happy with their car. Because your shifter handle might prick you in the finger.
I'm a little surprised, but yes.
Yeah. So like, I feel like they should really be doing that same thing here with
they
something
should
that
be.
really actually matters.
That
So it's expensive, but it's like Tesla did it, and look at them now. Like,
well, and I guess I haven't even talked about the MCU stuff on the Tesla. I've been back and forth with several people at Tesla Maplewood about getting the recall done on my car, and they said they can't do it because I previously paid, under the terms of the recall, this is fine, another shop to fix my issue. And they're blaming a pre-existing issue, which I have proof that was happening well before I executed any repair. And I finally got them to call me back, even though I asked them for an email. And they confirmed what I already told them, which is it's illegal to prohibit my recall because of an aftermarket part.
yeah, it's right to repair. Yeah.
No, it's Moore's something or other.
Not
There's
Moore's Law.
an actual attack,
okay.
act, not attacked.
Oh.
But it's a Moore's something. Scott found it, and I sent it to them. And it's going in on Tuesday to have the parking sensors fixed, and they will be repairing my main screen.
Good.
And I
So-
won't have to pay anything for that.
I want to talk about the exact polar opposite of all of this
I'm game.
for a second.
Okay.
I want to talk about the new Lexus because actually, Donut Media of all places debuted this car.
Oh,
I know, right? Weird.
that is very strange.
The Lexus IS 500.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's really rad.
Okay, good. I made sure that it had the NA 5-liter. Okay.
Yes, it is. It's the IS 500 F Sport. It's the engine from the LC 500, which is like probably my favorite production vehicle right now.
It's
It's-
it's up there with the best production gas engine.
That is what the Supra should have been. That's the real Supra. Because the new Supra is not a Supra because it's not 2+2 and it's not luxurious in any way. But, oh, God, I love LC500 anyway. Now I can get it in a sedan.
Yeah, so that's the best form factor.
Yes.
And nothing is a manual anymore. So.
Yeah, so I'm not terribly concerned. But imagine buying a BMW and this exists.
Well, BMW is still a stick for now, but it's also hideous, and this is tolerable.
Yeah,
looking. It's not attractive,
this is
but
much better than the BMW in quite literally every way. Oh, it's got a heck Belinda as well.
It
from the
does.
factory. So it's great.
it's embracing its 80s heritage.
Yeah, it's great.
And I forget the engine code for that 5-liter, but it's been around since the first gen ISF, and it is a very good engine.
Ben mentioned it to me. Like, he just like rattled it off. Like, of course you know what the freaking engine code is. For
Yeah,
this,
yeah, it's like a 3ZTF SE or some crap like that. But that's cool. I didn't know they were going to put the big one.
2URGSE.
Ah, yes, of course, the UR series. 2URGSE. So from that, we know that it is gasoline direct injection. It has a Yamaha derived cylinder head.
Yes.
And E means dual overhead cam.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay. And yes, and it is 5 liters. If you scroll down a smidge,
Oh, sorry, I'm
all right,
trying
you
to
can
find
actually
my
go
cursor.
maybe go to the press. I could go to the press release because there's actually reading that has to happen for that, and you aren't good with that.
Is
They
that
have
linked?
some-
That's not linked.
I know, but there's a press release that said right there, right, big white button says
Yeah, but it
press
doesn't
release.
have a big video.
Now, if you scroll up for a second, for
Nope,
2
it has
seconds,
a limited slip
Yes, it
differential.
does.
a
It does
Torsen.
have, it's got a limited slip diff. It's got 472 horsepower, 395 pound-feet of torque, 19-inch wheels, which is like actually kind of cool because it doesn't have 20s and it's got like a reasonable wheel
Dubs.
size. They could have easily gone 20s and just made it worse. Like 19-inch wheels, I've noticed. That's like the modern version of 15, where it's like it's the exact size you need to fit it over a brake rotor. That's the only reason that wheel size exists.
472 horsepower at 7,100
Oh my god,
RPM.
yeah. But it makes torque at like 4,800. It's just a super high revving V8. Which
Good.
is so good.
Thank you, 2UR FSE,
0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds.
which is like so 2000s. I
But-
love it.
I feel like it's a really rowdy 4.5 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
Like-
it's making good noises the whole time.
It's making
so.
good noises, and it's also probably making a lot of tires spin. And your traction control light, if your traction's on, is just going bananas. That's why it's taking.
You
that
are,
long.
yeah, rear-wheel drive tire limited.
Yeah, that's what
I was
you are
gonna say-
tire limited by anything.
My M5 does the same speed with 400 horsepower, and it's 20 years old. But it's because it has the same section rear tire.
So this is what I love about it is Akio Toyota personally oversaw the production of the suspension and the development of it. He wanted to make this as good as possible because there's a high likelihood this might be the last like V8 IS, like the last V8, sports sedan that they make. So they're making it as good as possible. It's like I said, it's rear-wheel drive, not all-wheel drive, which is great. It's got the adaptive suspension. It's super rad. 14-inch two-piece brake rotors.
That's actually pretty small, so that means you could probably
it's
run
also-
an 18 on
It's
it.
a two-piece though.
Yeah, I know. It's a
Which
floating
is like,
rotor, which is
it's
cool.
huge. Like that's insane.
Keeps unsprung weight down.
Yeah, it's really, really rad. Like everything that they've done with this to make it as like just like the best possible sports sedan that they could make at this point in time. I think it's perfect, and I absolutely love the 4.5 second 0 to 60 because I rather have a slow, fun 0 to 60 than the like 2 second 0 to 60 that you get with a McLaren where it's just totally clinical. Like I don't care about that.
Yeah, this is the same 0 to 60 time as the new Supra, but
This is why people like muscle cars, because they're entertaining, not because they're good. And that's exactly what this is entertaining over performance. Yes, there's a shitload of performance, but they left stuff on the table.
this should have been a manual.
It really should have. I agree, but I'm counting my blessings. At this point. Like,
Yeah, no,
it's
I
a,
like
it's a
thank
V8
you,
in a brand
Toyota,
new
but
car. Like, it's very, very cool. It should have been manual, yes, but whatever. I can't care that much because it's very, very, very good, and there isn't an existing manual for this engine.
yeah, which is really weird.
Yeah, I feel like this should have a existing.
I guarantee
manual.
there are adapter plates because I mean this
There-
bell housing's
if
been
not, there
around
will
for
be.
like 15 years, so yeah, manual swap one of these in a couple of years. That'll be pretty
Well,
good.
once like one UZs are difficult to come by.
Yeah, we'll have the 2UR FSE at that point.
Yeah, that'll be like that'll be the LS of like the 2040s.
I'm repeating it now, so I remember it. And leading on the heels of that particular story, I want to talk about the American market and also like where my only remaining semblance of American pride comes from. And that is the fact that we dictate so much of the vehicle market force in the world that we made Porsche put a manual transmission in the latest GT3, and after that, now 70% of them that are sold are manual.
Perfect. That's the way it should be.
It is. Like this, the reason why this car sells is because it's the last bastion of like, yeah, screw your daily driver. I want my fun car to be an old school fun car.
Yeah.
I want it to be an NA engine with a manual. I don't care if it's slower. This is still just a nightmarishly fast car.
Also, it's the perfect company to do it because it's a Porsche.
Yeah, like they sell in such low numbers they can afford to federalize whatever they want.
Not only that, their entire company ethos is engineering around the problem.
Yes.
So,
And like it makes sense that the car with the engine that they never moved to the right spot still has a transmission from that era.
yeah, like this, it's perfect. It's a transmission it should have.
But they tried to get rid of it when this car came out in like
I know, I
2012,
remember. I remember
and
that.
they did not sell.
Also, 1 second, 10 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The 991 came out almost 10 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
which is really, really disgusting if you think about it.
I'm okay with that because I like the 991. I think it is.
I mean, this is a 992 now, but
or
still,
what,
the
you know,
991 is
the
great.
991, 992. It's like the 996, 997 though. It's like they're more or less the same thing.
It is, but with the 991, at least you know you have a GDI engine. So
The
you
one
really don't
the
have to worry.
991/2, I will say.
Point 2.
I like both of them. I think that they are the most aesthetically pleasing water-cooled Porsche.
Oh,
by
yeah.
a mile.
Yes.
I never say that about new cars. I also believe that the most aesthetically pleasing Porsche of all, 911 at least of all, I think would have to go to the 993. That's my favorite overall Porsche.
I think it is for me too.
That
Yeah,
is
it has
also
nothing
the-
to do with the air-cooled
The
engine. but-
only 90s car I like more than 80s cars. Because the 80s car was just a leftover from the 70s.
And then it was like a stapled 1960 model too.
Yeah,
So
like,
yeah,
I
or
really like the
64.
narrow bodies, but the 993 I think did just...
The
Chef's
993 is still my favorite. Unfortunately, my dad, who is the one that actually wields the checkbook, prefers the 964, which is fine.
Which one's the 964?
964 just preceded the 993, so it's like the 89 to 92 or 93.
Yes, and those are I'm fine with. I
Yep.
like those as well.
Especially the special versions with the whale tails and like the lightweight
I'm
versions.
100% okay with
So
that.
those are cool.
It's just that they didn't do enough with that.
Yeah.
I think the 964 I would like that more if it was around a little bit longer,
Mm-hmm.
and like if they introduced that in like 1982.
Oh, dude, yeah. They had like a pseudo 964 introduced when the 930 and the G86 or whatever was coming out.
Like I feel like if they had spent more time with that, and the reason I like the 993 is the 993, like Gianna's favorite color ever was.
Oh, is it that
introduced.
purple whatever?
Yeah,
Rose.
Ruby
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 Stone
Stone, that's the one.
Yes, Ruby Stone Red. But it's
Because pink isn't manly enough.
Every time I see one of those in like the paddock of a racetrack, which is the only place that those exist anymore, which is great, I'm just like, wow, that is
Actually-
a factory color.
fun fact: Ruby Stone Red is one of the most popular paint by like
Oh yeah,
designation colors.
special order colors. Yeah, Yep.
that is one of the most popular special order colors.
It's a great color.
And they were like, Porsche was blown away by that when they found that out. They're like, wait, what? Like,
Oh, and
that
it's
was
just
like
like-
2 years in the 90s.
That's how all of things in life go, though. It's
Yeah.
like the stuff you don't expect to be good is super popular, and the stuff that you expect to do really well flops.
Yeah.
So I get it. Like the PDK is a technically good transmission, but like think about it.
It's like
you're
it's
buying,
like the IS 500. You don't want technically good would be the M3. That sucks. You want to get the
technically
one
good
that's,
is buying an EV.
well, yeah.
But
I mean,
like, you want your secondary car, and the IS is a compromise because you could daily it, and it's still
well,
more fun.
I'm saying with the IS, like looking at other sports sedans at the
Yeah.
moment, why I would say this is the best one is because that is not technically good. It's going to be the most fun. That's what's going to be.
Probably it will make the most noise, which is probably
The most fun.
contributing. Yeah.
That's the
But like,
most fun.
think about it. Like if you're of at least some money,
Yeah.
your options for a truly fun old school analog, I'm going to say that with quotes, experience, like you can't afford it or buy a GMA T50. So your options are you buy a 911, like you buy a GT3. Because like,
Yeah.
well, I can still use it, and it's going to be the best possible experience for a new car that I could still buy today. Or, in my opinion, I would get a base Carrera.
I'm
With
just
the
trying.
7
I'm trying to
speed.
think like if I am of money's not an option, what I would do. Hello, Scott.
Hello.
I I'm trying to think of what, like, money not being an object. Like, it's very difficult for me to come up with a car that I would actually want to buy that's new.
I would buy an M2 Competition or a Yaris GRMN.
Yeah, I mean, that's not available in America, but again, money not an option. I can just leave it at my, like, vacation home in Lake Como in Italy. So,
Well, the thing is,
I take it probably a Yaris, yeah. It'd be a Yaris or probably this.
money no option is money is irrelevant when you're talking about a car with that driving experience because you have like
Yeah.
4 options, and like the GT3 is a great car, but the engine's still in the wrong place, and the consumables and the width of the car will make it much less fun to drive.
Yeah.
Not to mention just like the visibility is going to be better in the Yaris and the M2. But those cars are not going to be here to stay, and you'll be able to get one of these next generation still with a manual, probably.
Actually, I think the Honda S660 you can still get with a manual with defeatable traction control.
That's pretty good.
So I'd be looking like a Japanese K car or this. So it's just like
That's fine.
one of these is available in the rest of the world.
These are all the same things, just with like the knob scaled down at different rates.
Well, it's not even that. It's just like to like what size, like how zoomed in is your screen.
Yeah.
Like that's all it is. It's
Pretty
the
much.
same car.
But anyway,
So, this is great. I'm very happy.
I hope
that-
manufacturers pay attention to this, and I know they are,
Yeah.
which
Well,
is
there's
why
a-
we still have it.
There's a reason that Mopar still puts manual options and stuff, and I think Mopar is a very good
Hellcat
example
too? Yeah.
of like another reason to be proud to be American.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's honestly like they're dumb cars. They're not actually good, but they're so entertaining, and they're just a bastion of what America does right.
And they still sell.
Yeah, and they sell great. And it's a perfect example of a Halo car selling the lower models because nobody likes.
Oh, God, no.
Nobody objectively likes the V6 Challenger.
Hey, now, Hertz likes it.
They're not a person.
Oh, okay.
A
Well,
corporation is not a person.
technically they
except
are.
legally, but but it's just one of those things where it's like nobody actually likes it, but every single person that buys the V6 Challenger, it goes, yeah, have you ever seen a Demon though? Like, duh, of course I'm gonna get this.
nah, don't say Demon 'cause those are auto only, but a Hellcat Red Eye.
Same thing. You know what I mean?
It is,
though.
but one's
Like,
available with manual.
Yeah, but I'm just saying there's the people at the bottom of the scale buy because they see the cool version at the top.
100%.
And that's what like Ford failed to see. That's what GM has failed to see. That's what every car company in the world has failed to see. And that's why like Honda, the only reason the Civic still exists is because people see the Type R and they go, "Oh, it's so cool."
Oh, this is close enough.
I'm gonna get the close enough. Yeah, the close enough car that's your moneymaker, but you need the reason to buy the close enough car.
Mm-hmm.
That's why people. I honestly think if there was a hot Mirage, that would have outsold every other small car in America by
Rob?
like it currently does because it's the only one. But like when
The Mirage aged like red wine from like Bordeaux.
very
Like
well.
it's just like I couldn't care less really the year it launched, but now it's like this is like one of the best things you could buy.
it's just a perfect example of a car,
And it's
that
because
is
it's
aged
living in
well.
the past.
Yeah, it's just like this is a car you could buy 10 years ago. Like it's doing that in a very good way.
The
So-
the subtle improvements they've made also
Yes.
are good. But
So actually, speaking of subtle improvements, I want to talk about R31 House. They're a very super hella niche. R31 House is a Japanese tuner that tunes specifically the R31 Nissan
the
Skyline.
Grandpa Skyline.
Yeah, the one.
Do they use Korn's exhaust?
No, they make their exhaust. They make
Oh.
everything in home. But this is what Hip's sedan is.
Yep.
They have gone so far because they drift these cars.
I see that.
They have very specific tire sizes that they need, which are like
215, 45, 17.
235 40 17, 185 60 14, 195 50 15, 225 40 14. Like these are the specific tire sizes that you can get. And these tires are performance tires like .R compound made
Yep.
for like drifting and for racing, made by Shibata. And they sell for the 14 sells for $45 a tire.
Oh, this is pretty good.
The biggest one sells for 108, and these are equivalent to
very
like R888s.
I was gonna say, yeah, for drifting, if you're doing it professionally, you want a lot of grip. So.
Yeah. So they're like $102 for the biggest one that they make. They're so unbelievably cheap. Obviously, you can't get them legally in America, but you can import them through like Nengun. But like it's one of those things where like you could honestly, if you are drifting, if you buy enough of these in bulk, you get a group order, some of your friends, you can make these make sense. Or if you just have an AE86 and you're looking for that specific tire size and you don't want garbage, like this is a perfect example of a tire.
Well, if it's Japanese made, it's probably gonna be all right.
Well, it's a Chinese made,
Oh,
but Like, also, like, 225, 40, 14. Like, you're not getting anything other than a Hoosier racing slick. So this is actually one that you can drive on the road.
I see ciabatta, and I think of ciabatta bread.
Ciabatta bread's really yummy.
Ciabatta bread tires.
Also, their tires have cool lightning bolts on them.
They do.
Yeah, look at these lightning bolts.
Those
It
are
looks.
pretty neat. Harry Potter tires.
Yes,
Is
they
it
are.
the Falcon or the Yokohama? They had an Avid, I think that Yokohama Avid looked a lot like this, but without
yeah.
lightning bolts.
Yeah, this one has lightning bolts, which is very cool. Also, when you do a burnout, you'll see little lightning bolts. Pretty cool.
Oh my god. Anyway,
I
yeah.
would get these tires just for the lightning bolts.
Alright,
They're totally
that's-
worth it. So I want to talk about that. I think it's really cool
That's
that they
fine.
make super specific tires. It's from like the tiniest Japanese auto manufacturer that works on like literally one car.
I do
ever.
like that they're so focused. Like, no.
No, we don't do Skylines. We don't do vintage Skylines. We do the R31. It's like the EF Civic tuner. Like, and like plus all these parts are interchangeable with like different Skylines. Like, they could easily work on R30s.
Right, but that's just
C2
by
110s.
coincidence.
They could work on R32s. No, just the R31. It's really the best one.
It's definitely the most understated, we'll say.
So, I wanted to note that this one, if you would like to talk about this,
No, that's fine. I didn't put this in. That's okay.
I know you didn't, but I put it in saying either one of us could do this.
No, I don't know anything about it. So.
Okay, so Lordstown Motors, the GM EV startup,
Oh, okay.
they had a prototype,
I see.
because it
Uh-huh.
lit on fire,
I see that.
which is going great. Perfect example of GM just kind of shit in the bed. Actually, I think it's just bad luck, probably. It's a prototype. But,
God, that looks like a GMT 900.
yeah, because that's what it was.
Oh, okay.
It's a GMT 900 with a EV stuck in it for prototype uses.
Oh.
Yeah, he totally burnt it down.
Do.
So Lordstown Motors will not be starting up soon. It'll be happening a little bit later because it was on fire. So
Ah, whoops. I
Oh,
forgot
well.
I left the chair down. That mic is on if you want to join.
I'm just looking for your Model S key,
Oh.
so I can plug the Fiat in.
Oh, it won't fit?
There's another Fiat parked next to you.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, that's going to be really hard for you to plug in even with him there. You might need Ryan's keys too.
you can have my keys.
We are in the process of plugging in my 500e in place of the Tesla and Ryan's 500T.
Yes.
For you listeners, that's what's going on. Look at how robust the seat bars are in the back of a GMT 900.
I'm gonna say that.
Wow.
One thing about the Lordstown Motors prototype is like it's totally rebuildable after being
Really?
completely
I was
burnt
going
to
to
the
say,
ground.
it's like, yeah, just like repaint it. You'll probably
Every
be fine.
piece of plastic on this vehicle was burnt off. There's a little bit of paint left. It's
Like, even
really
the aluminum
cooked.
wheels didn't die.
Everything
like,
is there.
I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah, I'm shocked. Like
All things considered.
after the riots, I saw some Hyundais that were burnt down.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
That were like way more burnt down than this. So, you know, credit where it's due. The Lordstown Endurance electric pickup is in fact quite durable.
Yeah, and you know this just because of pre-production didn't have a grommet in the right spot. It like shorted the wire or something like that.
Water got in the engine or something.
Motor.
Yeah, whatever. So it sucks, but you know, whatever. They'll
They'll
work around
be
it.
fine.
I just thought that was something that was
Tesla's apparently catching fire
noteworthy.
all the time, so I'm sure it'll be fine.
doesn't never happen to you though.
No, not to my car. So I have 100% success with Teslas. All right, back to America and where my pride disappears because
That's a minivan. Why
no,
are you mad about a
no,
minivan?
it's a crossover.
No, that's a minivan.
It's a crossover
doesn't
with
have
sliding
sliding
doors.
doors?
It does.
Oh,
That is sliding doors.
I don't like that.
They got rid of the. See, it offends minivan people.
No, this
it's
is a
not-
minivan.
but
It's not.
But it isn't.
Yes,
It's a
it
truck
is.
with sliding doors.
No, it's a tall minivan.
I don't
That's-
like it.
Yeah, no. Just
Minivans can't be tall.
call it the Sedona. Lower it again.
This all they did is they just took the Sedona, which still is in production, and they just added Sorrento like springs on it. Probably still Sedona shocks even.
Probably. Yeah, knowing their suspension tuning, they probably didn't change.
Yeah, they
it.
just probably put in taller
But
springs.
just like, come on, just
Actually,
buy a
one
minivan.
second, 1 second. I'm kind of happy about this because it's like they're low key getting people into minivans again.
I guess.
Like it's
But-
like when AMC made the AMC Eagle.
Oh, the Eagle. Yeah.
yeah, where they're like
Yeah.
Yeah, where they're like, this is an off-road truck. Like, it looks like a wagon. Yeah, it's an off-road truck, but that is a wagon. It's got wood trim on it. But look at the ride height. And then you take AMC Spirit parts on it and you lower it, and suddenly it's the coolest wagon you've ever seen.
A lowered Eagle is pretty neat.
Yeah, so
But just like, Is this actually? It probably will sell better than the Sedona, just because they call it a crossover.
Yeah, but it's a lot of sliding doors.
Well, I know.
I'm fine with this because you know what? There's gonna be more kids that grow up with minivans, and I'm fine with that because minivans are great. Also, 1.9% APR on a Sienna. Why would you even?
Boom.
Yeah.
Check it.
Like-
There's an ad for an actual minivan right here. So
This looks pretty rad though. I really like it. I like
styling's good. I mean,
like
it's
the
Kia.
the C-pillar aluminum or brush, whatever. it
some
is.
sort of metallized
Metallica metallic trim. Oh, did you hear that Metallica got a DCMA takedown on their own live stream?
No, that's hilarious though.
Because like Twitch was so afraid like of Metallica suing them, they just
The
DCMA.
DMCA has gone too far.
Yeah, DMCA. I just think it's hilarious. Well, it's because Metallica, they're the people that like
I
sued
know.
their own fans.
I know.
Over the way that they got famous, which is so fuck Metallica.
Another
Anyway,
Sienna ad.
Another Sienna ad for the
You should
motherfucker,
just
dude.
get Sienna.
However, I will say Kia's new logo is pretty tight.
Yep. Oh yeah. I mean, Kia's arguably a good company.
This is the dope minivan.
Damn, that's already VIP. It's got lounges
I like
in the middle.
straight up want this minivan. Like this is really tight. I'll still take a Sienna any day over this. But
Another Sienna ad.
Yeah. This is,
And a Sienna review.
so this not Sienna is a great way to get people that are afraid to buy a minivan to buy a minivan.
Yep.
I'm fine with that.
I don't even care if they call
I'm-
it a crossover,
I
but
am
it's
upset
we all
that-
know it's a minivan.
I'm upset that it exists.
Yeah.
But
I'm
it's
accept
one
that
of
it
those-
has to exist.
But I understand that. It's like it's whatever. It's like the AMC Eagle. Like as long as you get something to a minivan, because what's gonna happen is they're gonna get this minivan. This is gonna be like this is gonna be tight. It's gonna last one generation.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a failure. Nobody else is gonna make it. And they're like, I guess I'm gonna get all-wheel drive Sienna next. And then more minivans will be sold.
Mm-hmm.
So minivans are great.
And we
I'm
got to
fine
be
with
getting
this.
close to the cycle where minivans start getting popular again.
Yeah, it already is because I mean van culture. Once Hubert has his vaccine and everything, we can have him on talk about it.
Heck yeah. Back
So
when shows start again.
speaking of weird things that we
Is
were
that
talking about,
Forbes asking for my virtual reality access on my computer?
I don't want Forbes to have that.
I don't either. So I'm going to go ahead and not do
However,
that.
Jaguar is going to go entirely EV by 2025.
Wow, imagine having a Fiat and not having a green key fob wrap.
Yeah, but I've got full color buttons.
Yeah, fine. But my shell came from Ching Chong Bing Bong land.
Well,
so
mine came from spaghetti.
That's true.
Anyway, so yeah, Jaguar is going all
Jaguar.
they're going all electric by 2025, and Land Rover is going to do just EVs by 2024.
That's actually pretty impressive.
So yeah,
That's a very short amount of time. From
That's
now.
super short.
That's
So
That's next product cycle.
That's that's within the same presidential administration potentially.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. But yeah, so it's one of those things where I'm just that blew me away that time frame.
Yeah, I mean
So-
that's we always talk about product cycles when it comes to product development, and like a lot of
Also,
big
Jag,
changes
it's
like that.
Jag, which is like
There
X-
aren't big leaps typically in one product cycle, but two can be significant. However, this makes sense because the Apache, awesome vehicle. If they
Yes.
just build on that technology, you can really proliferate that tech to all their products.
Yeah.
And make them all very, very good.
And so I think that's what they're going to be doing here. Also, I'm just really blown away they did this quickly because this is Jaguar
Jaguar.
who made the XJ from like 1900 until like 2028.
I think we have to go from eras. So it was the Neolithic era to the Mesolithic era. And I know
How
those
about-
are probably totally wrong, but
How about this?
They are.
The
You know.
Jaguar
You
XJ
sound
was
smart.
originally introduced when mid-century was being produced, and it was discontinued when mid-century
was popular again.
became popular as a retro thing.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how long the
And
XJ.
it lived through the malaise with only slight, really terrible front
Nah,
end treatment.
yeah, it was fine. Like honestly, I actually, what's weird is the later '80s ones.
Mm-hmm.
They actually worked into it and actually made them kind of cool.
The 80s ones, yeah. The 70s ones look terrible.
Oh, well, the late '70s, early '80s were atrocious. Well, like by like '88.
So how many factories does JLR have? Because the I-Pace
I
isn't
don't
even made by
know.
them. It's made by
Apache.
Apache.
Apache is made by Magna Steyr in Austria.
Very good.
They don't even build it.
It's
And
Jaguar.
so my thinking is they might have only one factory or maybe two.
They might
and,
be
and to have a
contract
factory that does both might have just been cost prohibitive.
yeah, that's a very good point.
Because they've got all these gas guzzlers and diesel guzzlers right now. And FEVs would maybe work, but
well, also
I'm
in
looking that up right
Europe, it's very stupid objectively dumb.
No, they're owned
to,
by
like-
Tata Motors, right, out of
Yeah,
India?
yeah, but I mean, like, no, they're owned by Geely, I think.
No, that's Volvo.
Oh,
And
it is
Lotus.
Volvo. Yeah, so they are owned by Tata.
So
But
they have 2 component production facilities, Coventry and Warwickshire.
What
And
about
then
final assembly?
final assembly is Castle Bromwich, Halewood Body and Assembly, and Soyuhu.
And that's for JLR, both.
Yep.
That makes
They
sense.
should
Chevrolet
know
Land Rover.
Castle Bromwich.
And then they also have, well, India, so they have their Tata factories, and there are 4 of those out of country, but there are 3 in-country British facilities.
Ooh.
So West,
I wonder if this
West
is gonna
Midlands,
trickle down to
Liverpool,
Tata.
and Birmingham.
I would love to see like a Tata Nano, like EV all-wheel drive.
I want these to get cheap because I really like the Apache.
Yeah, they're still in the mid-40s.
That's-
I check off.
I'm glad, I guess, that they're retaining value so well, but weird. Why would you be checking off on
Hang
other
on.
EV values?
Wait a second. Wait a second. This is a Jaguar. It's retaining
Jaguar.
the Jaguar. That's retaining value.
Yeah, that's a good
That's
vehicle.
the first time.
90 kilowatt hours, heat pump, good looking.
Aluminum.
This is literally
Aluminium.
this is the first time in like ever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's
Oh, except
ever-
for the Xj, apparently.
No, they tanked in value, and then they came right back up.
Go back!
Yeah, and then they came back up. But like, this is the first Jag that's not just like falling off of a cliff
People
immediately.
make fun of Jaguar.
Jaguar.
Like in these news articles, there's the commenters. How would you like, an electric vehicle with their electrics? And
Well, it
like,
is
well,
British.
there's some truth to that, but at the same time, it's not like their internal combustion engines have been very reliable either. So.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just like the
fewer things to-
E32 argument when that came out in the late 80s. Like, oh, all this is going to fail. Turned out none of it did. Or like it failed for like completely unrelated reasons.
This is the thing with Jaguar, you have
Jaguar.
very good reason to believe everything will fail because the V12s were known for overheating and the
Yeah, but this isn't
valve
Volkswagen.
seats were the valve seats were held in very loosely.
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
engine expanded the valve seats when they expanded, dropped the valve
Ah.
seats into the engine.
So it's like the early Pentastars.
Except they never fixed the problem.
Oh.
And it was like that on all of their
So
V12s.
you take the thermostat out of the engine.
All of their V12s did that. They all overheated and they all blew up.
Thank you, Lucas Electronics.
So
But anyway, look how good the Apache looks. That's a great color combo,
I'm
too.
excited that Jaguar is doing quite well. Because as much as I don't care about them as a company, I really kind of like some of their cars quite a bit.
I would definitely trade my car for one of these.
I bet the F-Pace is getting not the
Apache.
F-Pace, sorry, the
The Apache.
the Type. What's the coupe? I can't think of it. The Type.
I think it's
F-Type.
F-Type, yes.
Right letter, wrong name.
F-Type.
I wonder if that's getting the axe. But if they
F-Type.
made an F-Type
F-Type.
BEV, that would be
Oh,
awesome.
yeah, they have to. Oh,
Because then
yeah.
again, the transmission stops mattering and all that. Too.
I don't think that they can get rid of that.
There's an ad for a Ginger there. It's weird.
It's going to be a new car though, because it just had a mid-cycle refresh in 3 years.
Yeah, I don't think that they're gonna get rid of it. But I mean, like, if they're going all electric, they're probably just gonna make an electric. I imagine they'll make a EV Fatipe.
Fatipe?
Fatipe. They're probably gonna make an EV version in the next year or two.
Dude,
I
the
mean-
first company that makes an electric convertible, that's going to be hard to ignore.
That it's gonna be quite impossible to ignore.
I like my 124, but oof, there's something
it would be
that
quite
rubs
good.
me the right way about an electric
would-
convertible.
It'd
not
be
EV.
quite good.
I said electric EV.
Yeah, I'm still a little skeptical of anything. I mean, this is only a few years out, the horizon here, but like the full ICE bans and all that stuff, I'm really skeptical that stuff's going to come to fruition
No,
in
I
this
doubt
country.
it will. I don't think it will.
And in this case, I think they might drag their feet and keep their existing stock, the internal combustion cars going longer, but I doubt they'll
Yeah.
redesign them, is my thinking.
Manufacturers
is-
going full EV by any time in the 2020s decade, not happening.
I think with Jag,
I think options in all of those.
I think because Jag
Product
sells,
segments? Yeah.
they sell
F-Type
more.
could stay gas.
I'm pretty sure Jag sells
Yeah,
more
that's true.
vehicles in Europe than they do in America. Cause
Jag.
and
The
for-
I-Pace is actually a decent seller there, and here they hardly sell any.
yeah, because like they're known for being horrifically unreliable. But in Europe, everything's unreliable, so they don't care.
And everyone leases.
Yeah, and
Just in
everybody
Britain,
leases. That's
yeah.
why everything's unreliable.
Right.
So that's I think if there's a company that will go all EV, I think it'll be Jag because it doesn't make sense for them to keep a internal combustion engine just for America. It would be really dumb. And also, they're not run by
Well, I was gonna
English
say,
people. They're run by
they're backed by an Indian company.
yeah. So like this is a company that like really America is like we are their like tertiary market.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we don't drive the market force for these guys.
No, we're going to get whatever they decide to do. So I don't think that they're going to do anything for the American market where they're just going to be like, hey, this is made for India. You get to enjoy it as well.
Oh, look at Polestar. I forget who their parent company is too. But
That's
like,
Geely.
That's Geely. Okay, but I mean, that's a Chinese-based company. They're going to go with Chinese market forces, and EV is a really big push
Yes.
in those markets because like many reasons.
Yes.
But like alternative energy is just cheaper. It's much cleaner, and they've got much bigger climate issue and air quality issues than we do in most of our countries. I mean, we're going to see stuff from other parts of the world that didn't have to deal with the dark ages for the last however many years
Yeah.
more quickly. Yeah, thank you, Moby.
And so I think that
than our manufacturers.
I think that I'm very excited about this. I think that Jag is really a perfect example of being able to do this. And I feel like if there's ever a company that's going to do it right, it's going to be them. Just because...
Or at least do it first.
Yeah, I think I've got faith that they'll do it right because when Tata bought them out, like there's like a remarkable difference in quality between Jaguars in 2002 and 2012 when they were bought out. Like you can tell that one was made by Ford and one was made by not Ford.
I think that's more just a consequence of the era it's from because it's hard to buy any bad car right now,
Well,
no matter who made it.
I mean, when you look at the inside though, you can still see if a car is made by Ford.
But we're talking about things like in the late 90s, early 2000s Land Rover products. It's like they didn't do enough
But I mean, like, what I'm saying is like
durability testing.
Yeah, they didn't do durability testing, but like now they're not designing things ergonomically or like with space use in mind. Like Ford, you have like a tiny car with a super small tuner because everything's curved inwards and designed to look cool. And
Ford
not
doesn't make
functionally
cars.
cool. You know what I mean though? As like Ford when they did make cars, like even today they don't design things to be functionally like good. They're designed to look cool in a photo, and that is it. Whereas like a Jag or a BMW is designed to look quote unquote good, and also be functionally viable because they're available. They're sold primarily in markets where really when you're
They're
leasing these
designed to
cars,
lease well.
Yeah, they're designed to lease well, not look cool. Like so, and that's the thing is like I think that's why Jag is going to be the company that's going to do this right, and I have a lot of faith in them.
Welcome to the world of widgets.
Yeah, I think that they're going to do it right because I mean, the other thing is like leasing well is it means it has to work well because you have 4 years you're stuck with this thing.
Yeah. I mean,
As opposed to this Ford, like you can buy it and then sell it and roll your negative equity into your next car with your super low interest rate. Like, so I've got faith in them. I've got total faith in them. So that's my top tip.
Yeah, the alternative that they could have done would be the Geely 2-liter, four pot in everything approach. To me, that's like the halfway
and
house.
they haven't done that.
And they might leapfrog the Volvo brands, which I think could be comparable to them.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a bold move. And frankly, Jaguar I don't think sells in big numbers anywhere. I think is it Land Rover as well though? Are they lumped in?
Jaguar and Land Rover are the same company. Yeah.
I understand that, but are the Land Rovers also?
They're going EV in 2024, a year earlier, I think.
Wow.
But I think that's more because their vehicles
production
are like
numbers are
gross
separate.
polluters.
Right.
So
So Land Rover has 440,000 units annually production. Jaguar has 175,000 units.
in the world,
But I think the transaction prices are much higher on Land Rover. So
yeah,
I think that's a much
I
bigger
think
cash cow.
that's their and like Jaguar is like their kind of like their Halo brand.
Their revenue is lumped, which is weird.
Yeah, because I feel like one of these, the one that might be on the screen, like hemorrhages money.
Oh, what a good car.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I don't think they're making money on the
But that's the thing
Apache.
is,
Thank you.
it's also a Halo car.
Yeah.
Like you get the Land Rover and you see somebody with a Jag, and like Land Rovers are cool, but like they're really comparable to.
I want
a
a
Jag
leaper on it
these
though, so I can skewer some pedestrians.
Yes,
down.
they should put.
We
a
have-
leaper
we make
on
good
this.
tape.
This needs a leaper on the
It
top.
does.
So go
A
find yourself an
comically
XJ
large
in the
one.
junkyard.
No, like 3D print one that's 2x scale.
Just like when they did that Hispania Sueza concept last year, just a giant like,
Or
crane.
Fuel Injection Sucks. They did the 24 Hours of Lemons rally in an old Ponton, and they made like a 5x scale Mercedes star to put on the grill. It was really great.
Yes, this is perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, they should bring back the leaper on this. This
Also,
is
you
great.
should pull up I think it's on Jaguar's website, but they've got the Apache. They've got like a side view. I think it's on their actual website, but anyway, if that thing is slammed on its air
Oh.
suspension, I think it's that
boy.
picture.
Yeah.
And it
actually
to
was
me-
really
How do
to
I
me,
get rid of
that's-
this garbage?
It becomes a wagon. I don't know if you guys talked about the Ioniq 5, but there's this weird blurring happening right now of these quote-unquote crossovers.
Yeah.
And
which
if you
is,
look
like,
at them
really
next
low.
to like a Volkswagen Golf, it's like the same
There we go.
proportions.
It's like the minivan that we just had,
Well,
where it's like
were you talking
it's a
Carnivale?
crossover. Yeah, the Carnivale.
Yeah,
Right? It's
yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's a crossover.
Yeah.
So if I hold the pic, if I
You,
hold
you
the
can
pic,
find that picture, but it is the picture I was thinking of. But
Yeah.
that thing is slammed.
They look dope.
And
yeah.
that's
a sexy
stock.
car. That's a good looking car.
It is.
Well, so
it
like
doesn't even have tint
I don't
there.
know if you can pull that cladding off. You know, there's that little accent
That
on the
bottom
side.
thing?
I don't hate it.
Painting it black, I think. Would
yeah,
help.
you can color match it and be fine.
like that.
You don't want to color match. This
you
is
just keep trying the same thing, hoping for different results.
insanity. A lease from only $719 a month.
So one of the other cool things that one of the other cool things about Jags,
Jag.
when they got rid of the leaper on their logos, they have the little like cat face, and it actually says what engine's in it. I wonder if on the Apache it says electric vehicle. Oh, I will totally after I have lunch. But that would be a really cool thing to see if it says like electric vehicle or something.
That'd be an Easter egg.
That'd be a cool because like
Maybe
if
it
you-
does.
Next time you see like an XJS or something or from like the early 2000s, look at the logos because all the different ones say what engine's on it. So it's like 4.2 liter V6 or
That-
like the
that
4
is
liter
what I
V8
learned this week.
supercharged. Yeah, they're really rad. Like I'm upset that I know this fact, and I'm really happy because like
I'm upset about most facts that you know.
but the thing is like Jag's actually like
Jag.
secretly a really cool company. Like I'm very upset about that.
And they have to be. You'd be so bored with idle factories all the time otherwise.
That's true. And they don't sell any cars. They can spend all the time they want making all 5 cars they make on that.
You wonder why small British towns always appear so quiet on TV shows?
Because they're all making Jags.
It's lunch hour during the Jaguar rush. Anyway,
All right, well, that's smashing. I'm happy that you learned something this week.
yeah, that's a cool Easter egg. I like that.
There you go. All right, well, hey, thank you for listening.
Bye.
Catch you guys next week.